The very first thing I said to you, I asked you was what? Good, what are you here for? Right? Because there's a difference between a man and a woman who's living for something versus a man and a woman who's not living for something. Right? So I want you to study. Man, I wish I had the research up here, but there's research that proves that people who have a sense of purpose outlive people who don't have a sense of purpose. Right? I've shared this with you before, but if you had a brand new car and you sit that car in the garage for a year, do you know that car is not going to be as effective and as efficient as a car you put on the road? Because a car wasn't designed to do what? Sit. It erodes when it sits. You missed what I said. You think by using it, you damage it. No, you're really damaging it by not using it. You let gas just sit in the car for a year, you know what happens? You let oil just sit in the car, you know what happens? But that same oil that's in the car, that's moving and running, it's a different oil. That gas is being used, is a different gas. And most of you are not where you want to be, not because you don't have the ability to be there, but you're not doing nothing. And every time you sit and waste and do nothing, you are eroding your success. You are eroding your abilities. You are eroding your gifts. But when you use them, I didn't start doing voiceover work. I didn't start doing videos. I started with a GED program. And in the GED program, I would give kids work, but before I gave them their work, I would do what? I would motivate them. I went too far. Before I started motivating kids, I started reading personal development books. And then the books I started reading, I gave to them. And I started motivating them from the books. And I went from teaching a GED class to coming to Michigan State and doing the Advantage. And the Advantage is where all my videos blew up. The Guru Story, that wasn't in a big auditorium like this. I don't know if y'all saw the Guru Story, but that was in a normal classroom. We didn't start here with all of y'all. We started with 30, 40 kids, but we started. And by starting, it turned into this. Your problem is you haven't started. Write down right now what you should have started that you didn't start. And remember what I said, don't give me a passive start. Give me an aggressive start. What haven't you started aggressively? Let me hear it real quick. Somebody be honest. What haven't you started aggressively? What have you started, but you haven't started aggressively? Let me hear it. Yes, ma'am. Say it again. Caring. I love it. Caring about everything. Come on, let's just be real. How many of y'all just real? Like you going through the motions, but like you ain't really caring about what you're doing. Let me see your hand. Be honest. I love it. Thank you for being transparent. So we need to start with what? You need to care about what you're doing. Put something in it. Put some effort into it. Good. What else? What else have we been passive about? Yes, ma'am. Waking up at 4 a.m. Yep, most of us have been passive about waking up at 4 a.m. Absolutely. Why 4 a.m.? Write that down even if you ain't ready. I need to start my day before I start my day. Some of y'all just waking up and starting the day. It just hitting you. You coming right into the day. Like you right in the day. Like boom. You ain't even got time to get ready. I told my wife, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning. I stayed up late last night, got up at 3, but was like, okay. No, I got up at 2 something. That's what threw me off. I got up at 2 something, got up, did my thing, and was like, yo, I don't usually get up to 3. This 2 something. I might be a little too early. You know what I'm saying? Went back to sleep, got up, it was 6. I couldn't do the stuff that I normally do because I had to start work at 7. So I wasn't even able to like go into my day. I didn't go in with prayer. I didn't work out. I didn't do the stuff that I do. I had to brush my teeth, take a shower. I had to get on the beginning of the call. And then boom, we had the podcast right after. 2 episodes back to back. Then after that, we went out to eat. Then I had to come back and do stuff. My whole day was ruined. My whole day was ruined. You understand what I'm saying? Then I messed up, hit a pothole, didn't even see the pothole. Now I got to stand in line at Discount Tire. I think I'm doing something by getting there at 8. Me and everybody else had the same idea. Am I lying, Nikki? I get there at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a line all the way. I'm like, everybody got the same idea? We all hit the same pothole? Was that a setup? We all right here. I'm talking about, I'm literally like, I'm at Discount Tire. It's like a football game. It was about 12 dudes that was Discount Tire. They all running, get zoom, zoom, zoom. They starting off with like 10 cars. I'm like, it's unbelievable. They're standing like we stood in line for about 10 minutes. Nobody even came to us because they was doing tires. I told Carl, I was like, yo, Carl, next lick, we open up a Discount Tire, bro. This joker, they making bread, bro. They getting paid. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's about 40 cars outside. Then me and my wife just want to go pick up our car. I was like, yo, it's 6 o'clock. We got to go get our car. I get there at 6. It's a line inside. And it's cars. I said, what time you close? They said, when we finish the last car. I said, what time you going to be finished with my car? They said, about an hour and a half. I'm like, I'm buying a Discount Tire. Y'all busy at 8. in the morning, y'all busy at 6 o'clock at night. I need a discount tire. Somebody getting paid this joint. Good, talk to me. What else are we passively doing? What else are we passively doing? Come on, talk to me. I need 2 more people to be honest. Good, starting a nonprofit. Good. How long have you been thinking about doing it? 3 years now. So write down the thing that you said you was gonna do that you haven't done yet. Write it down. And what I want you to do is I want you to write it down every day and talk to somebody about it every single day until you get tired of talking about what you said you was gonna do. Listen to me, do me a favor. This is how life gonna try to punk you. Life is gonna tell you, you've been talking about that too much. Shut up and don't say nothing else about it. My first book, which is still selling on the shelf, The Secret to Success is still selling. Matter of fact, somebody said the other day, this is crazy. There was a young lady who volunteered for us. I'm not lying. I thought she was lying. I don't know if you remember this, Valerie. I thought she was lying. She said if you go online and try to buy that book, it's $69. I said, what? I'm about to start selling a few we got. I said, $69? She said that there are people who are selling that book for $69 because you can't go to a bookstore and grab it. That was the first book I ever wrote. Guess how many years it took me from start to completion to do that book? 10 years. Took me 10 years, but you know what I never stopped doing? I never stopped telling people I was gonna write a book. And my homies would be like, yo, E, you said you was gonna finish that book 5 years ago. You said you're gonna finish 6 years ago. You said you're gonna finish 7 years ago. You said you're gonna finish 8 years ago. And you know what that did? When they kept saying that, guess how I felt when they kept saying that? Got on my nerves. I said, one of these days I'm gonna shut your mouth. One of these days I'm gonna shut. So do me a favor, don't go, you embarrassed about it. You don't want nobody to know about it. Don't do that. Keep saying you're gonna do it so people can hold you accountable. Because one day it's gonna be one day it's gonna be one day it's gonna be we lost to Dolly Partners, the #1 book and audiobook. Audiobook still going. Guess what? We still getting money every month. We still getting a check every month off the audiobook. People love, I be having kids all the time, I don't like to read. Okay, listen to the audiobook. They're like, the audiobook. It was like a movie. We got the creaking on the floor. I'm walking up the stairs, you can hear the creak. The line, you can roar. You can hear when I was homeless, the leaves. I'm telling y'all, like, that sucker's so sweet, you can hear me wink. They got that sucker so, I go, wow, you can hear that joker. One of the best books, and we're still getting a check from it. But guess what? It took me 10 years. If I would have stopped at 8, we would have never got a check from it. If I'd have stopped at 9, I would have never got a check from it. So don't let nobody fool you. Whatever it is you say you're going to do, just keep saying it out loud. Because one of these days, we're going to talk, and you're going to be like, yo, E, can you come speak for the nonprofit? I'm going to be, you finished it? For free. Just get a couple books. You know what I'm saying? Buy a couple books. Give out to the kids. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So do me a huge favor. Don't stop saying it. How long did it take me to get my first degree? 12 years. How long did it take? 12 years. How long did it take? What is the year that most people, if they don't get their degree, they stop? What year is the year? Because it's not 4, but what's the year that if you're working on it and you don't get it, when do most people stop? At what year? Year 6. That's when most people quit.
You should write this down every day. This year's either going to be better for me or it's going to be worse for me. How many couples in the room? How many married couples in the room? My marriage is either going to get better this year or it's going to get worse. My money's going to get better or it's going to get worse. My health is going to get better, my health is going to get worse. What I do today will determine whether it's going to be better or whether it's going to be worse. It will not be up to Trump. It will not be up to the Democrats. It will not be up to something that happens in Iran. It won't be up to the stock market. It's up to you. Okay? You guys want it to be better or worse? How much better? 10x better, baby. 10x. You don't want it to be a little better. You need to start thinking like this. Okay? First, get rid of the little think and the old ideas and the middle class mentality. I'm gonna go to work, I'm gonna save some money, I'm gonna put it in the bank, I'm gonna give it to the man. What's the bank do? The bank doesn't even keep your money. They hate money. Cash it's trash. Cash is garbage, it's pieces of garbage paper. It is only useful when it is used, if you're taking notes. They didn't teach you this in school. This should have been taught basic, 5th grade, 6th grade, not when in high school or college. Cash, this is a piece of paper, okay? It is a piece of paper, it's worthless. This is a piece of paper. This actually has more value. This piece of paper right here has more value than this piece of paper right here. Why? Because one person has this piece of paper. 2,000 people have this data. You understand? This piece of paper right here is useless, though, until it is used. How many of you were taught to save stuff? How many of you got sticky notes and you save them? You write like 17 different things on one sticky note. I don't want to use the whole pad. I'm gonna make this sticky pad last the rest of my life. Okay? You got to get rid of the little think, folks. This little think is killing you. Let's find out if you got the little think. How many believe success is a mind game? Dude, it starts right here. You got to fix this. You got to get rid of. Let's find out if you've been affected.
The crowd represents broken dreams, things that didn't work out. Thoughts telling you it's never going to get better. You'll never get well. Never break the addiction. The crowd can be negative words people have spoken over us. You're not that talented. You can't accomplish your dreams. If you're going to reach your potential, you have to fight through some things. You can't have a weak, give up, this is too hard spirit. You have to be more determined than what's trying to stop you. You may get knocked down, but you have to get back up again.
Run! Move! You don't need this long plan. You just gotta move. You know, we're living in a society where nobody moves anymore.
The chronic excuse maker. How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. You don't have the equipment or the gear. Lies. You don't know the best way. Who cares? That's a lie. Or you're too old, or you're too young. Of course you're too old or too young. Lie. And there's, you're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie. And you're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it. Lies, lies, lies. And the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop.
I don't have time to wait for things to get better, to go forward. I don't have time for them to change the policy for me to go forward. I don't have time for the economy to come back for me to go forward. I don't have time for the stock market to come up before I go forward. I don't have time to wait on them to rebuild buildings for me to get a job. I don't have time!
When people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have any dreams for themselves, they tend to be dream killers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They want nothing more than to talk you out of your own visions. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have any hopes. They're hopeless. They're uninspired, unmotivated. They have no dreams. They have nothing they're ambitious about. But I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big.
When you're going through basic SEAL training, the instructors are going to talk to you, and they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you that it's going to get colder. They're going to tell you that the evolution isn't going to end. They're going to tell you that you're too weak. They're going to tell you that the teens isn't worth it. They're going to tell you that you're too big, you're too small, you're too short, you're too tall. They're going to tell you things to try and get you to quit. And they're lying to you. But you know what else they're teaching you? They're teaching you not to listen. You hear all kinds of negative stuff out there. You can hear it from other people. You're going to hear it in your own head. Don't listen to it. They're lying.
Life is always giving you a test. Trying to give you a way out. Trying to give you an excuse not to show up. You gotta have the mentality to show up every day of your life. No matter what life throws at you, it's our responsibility to show up to the Coliseum of life. Prepare for battle. I don't care what you're going through, what life's throwing at you. It's your responsibility to find your new 100%.
Bounce back. You can get through this. You can get over it. It's not about excuses. We all have them. Stop making excuses and make the adjustment, because you can have what you want, do what you want, be what you want, but you cannot do it if you're coming up with all these reasons why. You should be doing better in your life. I don't care nothing about a recession. I don't care about what's going on around you. It's what goes on in you that counts. It's what you think about you and not what others think.
Don't slow down. Don't get filled up with success. Don't be so quick to pat yourself on the back and think you've arrived.
Everything you've been dreaming about, everything you've been wanting in life, it's right there. It's right there. You got an opportunity, right? But in order for you to get it, it's blood, it's sweat, it's tears. You gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. So I'm not in your life, so I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know what it looks like to want it as bad as you want to breathe. I don't know what time you gotta get up. I don't know what time you gotta go to bed. I'm not 100% sure. But what I'm telling you is, you gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. And you can't just talk about it, right? You gotta make it happen.
Can you be as hungry and as thirsty when you didn't have anything to drink? When you were starving in your life? Can you get to a place that's higher and still be that hungry, still hate it? Because if you don't hate it, you'll eventually tolerate it. You'll essentially start patting yourself on the back instead of going for the max. Maxing out means this: you're hungry on the last rep as you were the first rep. Can you be that hungry, then you can max out your life.
Let me give you a good philosophical phrase. All values must be won by contest. All values must be won by contest. And after they've been won, they must be defended. You say, wow, you put a pretty heavy task on us. That's what life is all about, a pretty heavy challenge. We don't give large trophies for small effort. If you want to win high health, if you want to win high wealth, if you want to extend a long reach in touching people's lives, you got to engage in some of these extra powerful disciplines. And one is to secure the territory by vigor, and the other is to defend it with equal challenge. Attack. Procrastination. Here's another good one: blame. I engaged in this the big share of my life until I met Mr. Show. I used to blame my negative relatives. I used to blame the government. I used to blame taxes. I used to blame prices. I said, it costs too much. Schultz said, no, let's cover the real problem. You can't afford it. I never looked at it like that before. Schultz said, sir, you must intellectually understand, it's not it that's your problem. It's you that's your problem. It's not out there that's the problem. Out there is like it's been for 6,000 years. You can't cure that. But what you can cure is errors in judgment, errors in attitude, errors in activity, errors in judging results. I found that the errors were within. But see, he had to go after me on that point. Here's the next one: excuses. Wow, we've got a million. I'm too short, I'm too tall, I'm too old, I'm too young. I don't have the money. I don't have the experience. On and on and on with the excuses. Learning to attack. Very important. Procrastination. That's a good one, front and center. We've got to attack procrastination because it's so insidious. It eats up such large chunks of your life and leaves you in a small corner. Putting it off. Delaying. Letting it slide. Now, I'm one of the best to attack procrastination because I confess to being one of the all-time great procrastinators. I've done a lot of things, but I've put a lot of things off. Procrastination. I am so good, I could teach it, but I also know the pain of procrastination. I also know the regret that comes from procrastination. I can also show you pieces of my life missing, never to be repaired, because I let it slide. Now see, if we all studied our own lives, and we're trying to help somebody with this insidious disease of procrastination and putting it off, front and center, we use ourselves as best example, because you feel the strongest about your own experiences and your own emotions. Do you think you could help somebody with procrastination? Developing this skill of going back, rehearsing your own life, and coming up with the essence of the emotion and the experience to try to illustrate to somebody how insidious it can become and how devastating it can leave your life and what'll be missing if you let it slide. That's what we call learning to attack the problem. Now, underline the word attack. It's very important to go after the insidious.
Let's talk about what nobody wants to talk about. Who here has ever failed? Who's here has failed miserably at something you wanted to achieve? When you failed, why did you fail? Didn't have enough time, didn't have the right technology, didn't have the money, didn't have the contacts, had the wrong people. The people said we had the wrong leader. Everything you people have told me, I didn't have the technology, I didn't have the right contacts, I didn't have the time, I didn't have money. Everything you've told me, I didn't have enough Supreme Court justices. Those are resources. And so you're telling me I failed because I didn't have the resources. And I'm here to tell you what you already know. Resources are never the problem. It's a lack of resourcefulness is why you failed. Because the ultimate resources are emotional states. If you're creative enough, can you find the answer? Yes or no? If you're determined enough, can you find the breakthrough? Yes or no? If you're passionate and loving enough, can you get someone to help you? Yes or no? If there's no way that you're committed, can you find the money even if you don't have it? Yes or no? So I said creativity, decisiveness, passion, honesty, sincerity, love. These are the ultimate human resources. And when you engage these resources, you can get any other resource on earth. And I said, so you told me all the resources you're missing and you hypnotize yourself into believing that you don't have what you want because you don't have the resources, when the most successful people in history had no resources, but they were incredibly resourceful, so they got the resources. Resourcefulness is the ultimate resource. And if you don't have what you want, stop telling yourself the story because you don't have the money, you don't have the time. That's bullshit. It's because you haven't committed yourself where you would burn your boats. If you want to take the fucking island, burn your fucking boats, and you will take the island, because people, when they're going to either die or succeed, tend to succeed. But most of us give ourselves a way out, and that's why we don't have what we want.
So if you and I really want to know what's going to take to get your dream and make it real, it's to stop all the things you told yourself that aren't. And I'm here to tell you what I said at the top of our discussion. 80% of success is psychology and 20% is mechanics. That's true of running your business. That's true of your intimate relationship. That's true of your body. That's true in your level of happiness. So you got to know the 20% because that gives you the edge, right? Those strategies, but you got to know the psychology. If you're in business right now, there's a few things. The chokehold on the growth of your business is you. It is not your people. It is the leader of this organization. The leader is the chokehold, and the chokehold comes in one of two forms. Your psychology. You think you've tried everything. You've tried everything but what fucking works. Or it's a skill that you're missing. Like you really are incredible at writing code, but you don't know shit about accounting and finance, and it's eating your business alive. Because I gotta tell you, 96% of all businesses in a 10-year period of time go under. Only 4% make it. By the way, make it doesn't mean that you succeed and have any money. It just means you're still standing. 4%. And by the way, after 10 years, you're set, right? There's no more challenges. If you got in a business and you're in it right now, I love you, I respect you as a brother or sister, and I know you're a crazy son of a bitch just like me. You have to be. Who gets in a sport where the longer you play, the more likely you die? You're a gladiator if you're in business. A gladiator goes out there and they know every time I go out I can die, and the longer I stay in the game, the more likely I die, but every day they go out to win. That takes an incredible psychology. But in that psychology, we bump onto limits, and that's what you gotta shift. And if your psychology is solid, you gotta say, where are the skills I'm missing? Because that's equally important. If you don't know how to market in the world we're in today, if you don't know the cutting edge of marketing, I'm only here today. I have the privilege to be with you here. I created a brand, and that's why I have the privilege to serve you. But that brand came because I realized early in my career, I can have the best ideas in the world, but they're gonna die on my lips unless I can market them, unless I can build a brand. It is the most important thing today because the world is made up of commodities. The world is so competitive. If you're a commodity, if you're a race for the lowest price, you will be out of business within 10 years, probably more like 2 to 5. You have to have something that separates you from everybody else on earth, and until you find out that something, you will be stressed and you will be struggling. But everybody has it, or anybody can create it. That's my expertise. My companies, I started with 0. We do more than 5 billion with a B per year, my companies. Combined. How the f did you do that when it's not even your focus?
We all have a set of belief systems, different kinds of beliefs, about if something happens, then it means something else. So for example, do we have rules for like what people do if they love us? Yes or no? So if a person loves you, then they what? They respect you. And by the way, does this person also then have a set of rules for if you respect them, then you, and they have look at them a certain way, don't raise your voice. If you respect me, then you don't raise your voice. If you respect me, then you tell me the truth. If you respect me, you follow what I'm saying here? And you know, the problem is all these rules are unconscious. What else? If a person loves you, they what? Trust you. Good. If a person loves you, then they communicate. If a person loves you, then they compromise. Now, some people's rules are, never in life do you compromise. To compromise is to give up your integrity. Some people's idea of integrity is if you compromise, then you have no integrity. A lot of us have rules that are absolutely totally unfair to us. For example, my favorite program I do is all on this destiny technology I developed, where I ask the question constantly, what makes people do what they do? And I started asking that question more intensely after a guy embezzled $250,000 from me, ran me $758,000 in debt. So I came up with all these incredible distinctions, and I refined them the last 3 or 4 years by doing a research project. My research project is called Date with Destiny. What it is the most powerful program I do. I take only 100 people at a time. I've been doing this now for about 2.5 years. And before they even get there, I get about 18 pages from them on every emotion they ever feel, what triggers it for them, what they believe is most important in life, what they think their experiences in life were, and I analyze every single thing about this person I can.
And we bring them in here and we find out what their core beliefs and values and rules are. Because that determines how you interpret your life, how you feel about it. Then we change that and change their whole life. So for example, if your highest value in life was security, you're going to make decisions differently than if your number one value is adventure, right? Well, if you had somebody's highest value security, the last one was adventure, one day you swap them, it might change their personality a little bit. It changes everything. Everything. And we don't do it haphazardly. We find out what they want in their life, and we make sure their values are consistent with what they want. Because most people are being pulled in two different directions, right? They want to like be successful and they don't want to ever be rejected. Guess again. And most people are trying to meet two masters that can't be met, so they get pulled apart and they sabotage a lot of stuff. But the biggest challenge for people, I think, is their rules. Most people in life have wired their brain where it's really, really hard to feel good. Every upset you've ever had or you ever will have with another human being is a rules upset. You are not upset with a human being. You're upset with their rules because you have a different set of rules. So every upset you've ever had with another human being has been a rules upset. And whether we get pain or whether we get pleasure in any moment is not based on what happens, but our giving ourselves that pain and pleasure based upon our rules.
People don't have enough rules in their life for themselves. So for instance, I get out of bed in 10 minutes or less. Doesn't matter. And I don't want to. That's why I have the rule. Because I went through,
callous your mind.
Literally, I went through a period where I would lay in bed for 3 to 4 hours, awash in shame at my inability to get out of bed. And it just embarrassed me. And so I felt badly about myself. So I wanted to make a change. So I knew that I needed a bright line. So bright line, 10 minutes or less, you get out of bed. As soon as you realize you're awake, that's it. So, and the rule is more specific. It's like I have to have had at least 5 hours of sleep. But once you put the rule in place, then you just live by it. And that's how you earn credibility. Like right now, I don't feel the way telling you that I want to feel. This is a good moment. He's on my team. I'm pointing at him. This is a good moment. So I'm saying this and I don't feel good about saying it. Why? Because today, I don't know what happened. I got out of bed in 11 minutes and I was so
You literally time it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, from waking up to actually physically getting out of the bed?
Correct. My feet must be on the floor and I must be standing up before it ticks over into the 11th minute. And today, I don't know what happened. I was aware of the time. I knew I needed to get up. And for whatever reason, one of the minutes just went faster than I thought. When I looked back, I was like, damn it. And so
I'm surprised you even made it here today then.
Right? Yeah. So now this comes into like knowing how to handle something like that. Like if you totally fall apart because you don't live up to one of your rules, you're violating another one of my rules, which is don't do anything that doesn't move you towards your goals. So it's like, yes, it is a part of my identity to confess this. So because I'm talking about it, I want to say it now to an audience. It's the only thing that will allow me to reset and be able to feel good about it again, because I don't lie when I miss it. I own it.
Well, look, if your biggest problem is it took you 11 minutes to get out of bed.
Sadly, that's not my biggest problem.
This is a high quality problem.
Right. Yes, very true. But my thing is people don't have the rules. And so I have other rules. For instance, I wear a size 32 pant. That's it. And so
no matter what your waist is.
No. I won't let my waist get out of line with that. So I use the pants as a way to guide. Now I would go down if I got so lean that I was, a 31. That's not a problem. But I'm not going to allow myself to go up. And it's super tempting, like especially around Christmas. I don't try to hold abs through the winter. So yeah, during Christmas, like right now, I do not have abs. So, and I'm totally fine with that. I switch a different part of my mentality. During the holidays, my wife and I definitely celebrate with food, and it's amazing, and I love it the most. So, but if that celebration took me up to like 32s don't fit anymore, I got to cut back because I have a rule. So it's like, that's how I keep myself in a lane. I keep myself from getting into trouble. I know the things that I accept from myself and what I don't accept from myself. And it's all like stated. It's very clear.
Stop doing the things that you know are wrong that you could stop doing. Right? So it's a fairly limited attempt. First of all, we're not going to say that you know what the good is or what the truth is in any ultimate sense. But we will presume that there are things that you're doing that for one reason or another you know are not in your best interests. There's something about them that you just know you should stop. They're kind of self-evident to you. Other things you're going to be doubtful about. You're not going to know which way is up and which way is down. But there are things that you're doing that you know you shouldn't do. Now, some of those you won't stop doing for whatever reason. You don't have the discipline, or maybe there's a secondary payoff, or you don't believe it's necessary, or it's too much of a sacrifice, or you're angry or resentful or afraid. Who knows? So forget about those for now. But there's another subset that you could stop doing. It might be a little thing. Well, that's fine. Stop doing it and see what happens. And what'll happen is your vision will clear a little bit. And then something else will pop up in your field of apprehension that you will also know you should stop doing, and that you could stop doing because you've strengthened yourself a bit by stopping doing the particular stupid thing that you were doing before. That just puts you together a little bit more. And you could do that repeatedly for an indefinite period of time. And you know, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to ever be able to formulate a clear and final picture of what constitutes the truth and the good. But it does mean that you'll be able to continually move away from what's untruth and what's bad. And, you know, that's not a bad start.
This is a very crucial concept for me and for virtually all of us. It's this idea of taking your life in your own hands and being the kind of person that you choose to be, and understanding that everything that comes your way is an opportunity, is a blessing. And it wasn't until I learned how to celebrate virtually everything that came my way that I was able to transcend it. You see, everything that was given to us by God, whatever that is perfect. No one can deny the mountains are perfect and the rivers are perfect and the birds are perfect and the hippopotamuses are perfect and so on. This is just what was given to us. Everything else that you have on our planet, that we have on our planet, comes about as a result of thinking. Thought makes it so. All right? This microphone comes about as a result of thinking. Somebody imagines it. Somebody then tells somebody else, and it creates it. The dress that you're wearing, this shirt that I'm wearing, the shoes that you have, the stage, these cameras. Everything that you see that wasn't given to us was created by man as a result of the way that we think. So what gets inside of us as a cell comes about as a result of the way that we choose to think in our lives. Very important principle to understand, because once you get a hold of thinking and that it creates everything that you have in your life, you can change and make it as absolutely perfect as you want it to be, because thought makes it so.
I started feeling like, I think everybody knows, I've moved my whole life on instinct, you know. I feel like now it's time to let the show go. I feel like it's time to move on because I've grown as much as I can grow. When I've grown as much as I can grow in a space, that's my instinct to move.
We have more power to influence our thoughts and our beliefs. And so there are a lot of tools and techniques out there that are resources. Like when I grew up, we didn't have any, we had no money, right? I had no education because I was very learning challenged. I didn't know anybody, right? So I feel like it's not, when people, that's where they'll go though. When there's a stopgap between where they are and where they want to be, they'll say, oh, I don't have the money, or I don't have the education, or I don't have the intelligence, I don't have the network, or anything else like that. And you know, what you know, as for all incredible success you've had and the value you've created for the world, is that it's not about resources, right? Because we know a lot of people who didn't have any resources that were able to impact the world. It's about our internal resources. And what I'm saying is optimizing our environment, optimizing our behaviors, our capabilities, our beliefs and our values, and our identity right? At the highest level, our identity, because you can't just change your belief or your values or your behavior even if you don't believe you're that kind of person. You know, that's why I kind of always go to the superhero mythos, because I want people to claim that identity. I call it the superhero you, that version of ourselves, that we're not waiting for Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. It's like, you are Wonder Woman, you are Batman, you are Superman. It's just we have to commit ourselves to be able to unleashing that.
Part of what feeds that hunger. You've got to develop a sense of urgency. Aurelia said, stop living your life like you have 1,000 years to live. In life, you're either here today and you're gone today. If there's something that you want to do and you can't do it all at one time, do just a little bit of it. I like what Robert Schuller says. He said, by the yard it's hard, but inch by inch, anything is a cinch. Do just a little bit of it. A friend of mine, Bobby Kerr, used to be a roommate. Bobby wanted to go into the area of public relations. He loved working with the public. Young lady he wanted to marry named Clarice. Bobby was a great procrastinator. Pretty soon the job where Bobby worked, they transferred him to another location. He went out to celebrate with the people on that new job site. And Bobby suffered a massive heart attack and died. Bobby didn't drink and didn't smoke, was under 40, and he died. Ask your question, how much time do you have left? How much time do you have left? When you start thinking about that, we don't know. We don't know. Bobby took all the greatness and all of the talent and all of his abilities to his grave with him. One of the things he could have put in parentheses under his name, he didn't use all his stuff. And most of us do that. Most of us don't use the stuff that we have brought into the universe. And we want to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to start living life with a sense of urgency and using what we've got, using ourselves up, sharing what we brought into the universe to share. Because if we don't, nobody else will. Stop wasting valuable time, knowing that if we begin to live our lives as if each day were our last, our lives will take on a whole new meaning. It take on a whole new expression, valuing each moment that we are blessed with.
So many questions are not a matter of morality. It's a question of being careless or careful, being cautious rather than reckless, but not too cautious. So it's kind of an interesting challenge. If you were so cautious driving on a two-way highway, every time a car came your way, you were troubled about thinking whether or not he was going to stay on his side of the line, that you pulled off the road, wait for him to pass, then got back on the road and continued your journey. We would call that a bit too cautious. It may take you 2 or 3 days to get to your destination. So you say somehow when the traffic's coming your way on a two-way highway, you must trust at least the law of averages that says I have a pretty good chance of arriving, even though there's not a guarantee. But 1 out of 1,000 coming my way, I'll cross the line and it'll be the end. So we do have to be cautious but not too cautious and let those daily experiences lead us into a better life, a better month, a better year. I arrived on an airplane flight once and the flight attendant came on and said, ladies and gentlemen, you have now completed the safest part of your journey. From now on, it gets dangerous. Fasten your seatbelt. I thought that was interesting. You've now completed the safest part of your journey. According to statistics, for the miles covered, it's the safest way to go.